Welcome back, guys, to AZ Sports Roundup. I'm your host, JT Hill. We got Quinn over there, and then we also got a special mysterious guest on the phone. Today, we're going to be talking about the NBA offseason, and let's just get into the intro. Okay, kicking it off, we're going to start with the Celtics and how bad their offseason was. So Quinn can kick it off.
All right, so the Celtics, they did some moves that I expected. They traded away Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. I'm not mad with that just because they needed to shed salary. They weren't going to contend. They were going into the second apron. And I think the Drew Holiday return was fine, except the Kristaps Porzingis trade. They traded the dude for a Bronny James basketball card and a stapler.
Don't forget Georges Niang.
Oh yeah, and whoever Georges Niang is. So yeah, not a great return. I think they easily could have gotten Clint Capella, and that would have been their replacement. Now they have a dude named, I don't even know his first name. His last name is Kiade. Orion knows more than me.
The two guys who might start center is Neemias Queta and Charles Bassey.
So not good. So the Celtics, I expected them to get rid of these two players to get under the luxury tax, except they did not get anything for it, and now they have two centers that I've never heard of. Orion, what are your thoughts?
I think the offseason was horrible. They needed Clint Capella out of that trade. Now if they're going to try to get another center, they're going to need to probably get rid of Pritchard to do it, and they're still probably going to get robbed. Like, maybe they can get, like, Wendell Carter or Jackson Hayes or someone, and, like, that's about the best they can do. Charles Bassey and Neemias Queta both average, like, under 4 points a game. Like, the Drew Holiday return was fine. I mean, they basically got, like, a Payne Pritchard clone, so it's, like, doesn't really matter. Anthony Simmons is okay, but, like, not with Payne Pritchard. It just doesn't really work. They kind of ruined the team, and the team doesn't have a center. If they got Clint Capella in that Porzingis trade, then it would not have been close to this. But trading Porzingis for Georges Niang is kind of dumb, and then not making any other moves after that was they just had an overall sort of bad draft. And they didn't draft a center; they drafted a guard, which is sort of bad. They could have taken Kalkbrenner, or they could have taken just anyone would have worked that could have started. Kalkbrenner's a lot better than Charles Bassey is, so I don't know what's going on. They're doing really bad.
Just copying off them. I mean, not copying. I was last, so it was absolutely horrible. Kristaps Porzingis, he does get injured a lot, but he is a great player, and he's over 7 foot, and that's really all I gotta say. Whenever you trade that sort of type of guy who can still hoop, you don't get that in return. You get a lot better than that, and that was kind of horrible.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. So now, this is not in order, but one of the top 3 best off seasons, I have to say, were the Denver Nuggets. So I think this team went from probably second round exits to finals contenders once again, because they traded away Michael Porter Jr.
Skibbity.
Okay. He's been very inconsistent this playoffs. And they traded him for Cam Johnson, who's a very reliable player. And they also addressed depth. They added Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr., also Jonas Valanciunas. He's not going to Europe. He's staying in Denver. I don't know why he would go to Europe. But they finally have a backup center, which is something...
He's a good center, too.
Which is something that they needed, and I don't think they've had for a long time. So they have a backup center. They have a reliable player in Cam Johnson, and I really like this team. Their starting 5 is solid. Their depth is a lot better than last year. I don't know if it's amazing, but it's pretty good. Orion, what are your thoughts?
I really like the moves. Cam Johnson is good because the team sort of gets a power forward. They can sort of move Gordon back to small forward, which is kind of where he belongs more. And with Tim Hardaway coming off the bench and Bruce Brown being like a more classic kind of point guard that the team kind of needed, sort of to replace Russell Westbrook, sort of. And he's also younger and stuff. Valanciunas is my favorite one out of this because not only is he a backup center, but like if one of the players gets hurt, they can always move him in at power forward because I actually really like him as a player. He's really good, just sort of like 3-level scorer kind of, just overall just a really good player, and the team got depth, and I feel like the team is now better than they were this year or in 2024. But are they as good as 2023? I feel like, I'm not sure, but I feel like they might be at least close to as good as they were in 2023. And in 2023, they won the finals, and they won the finals by like a lot.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick of the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder, but I got to give it to them. They had a really great offseason, and O'Reilly really hit it. They are actually a great team again. I would not be surprised if they are finals contenders. The Suns need to just watch what they're doing and try and copy them, because right now the Suns are kind of scaring me. Kobe Bryant has been playing good. I don't know how I just got to the Suns.
Okay.
My bad.
You're fine.
But yeah, I really think that this Nuggets team could go far.
Yeah. So, this one might make JT a bit mad, but for one of the worst, top 3 worst, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. So I'll just say they have a talented roster. They have like guys like DeJounte Murray, Zion, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Yves Missi. They drafted Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. But the thing, like, none of these guys really fit together. They have DeJounte Murray, and they drafted Jeremiah Fears, 2 point guards. I think Murray will be traded. But they have, I don't know, the thing that gets me is, JT, I'm sorry, the Derek Queen selection. I'm not mad with them taking him, except the thing that gets me the most is that they gave up a first rounder next year, which could be very high. Anything in the lottery for next year's draft is going to be very valuable. I think this is the deepest draft class we had in a long time, and honestly, there's 15 guys that I could think could be all NBA players. And the Pelicans gave that up for Derek Queen, who's a good player. I like them taking him. That he was probably the best player they could have gotten. Except there's questions about his defense and his pace and just him as a player. I think he can work offensively with Zion, except I don't know. It kind of confuses me a little bit.
So I also think the Pelicans did really bad, mainly just because they didn't do enough. I feel like a decent amount of those guys had to go that they should have traded. I feel like Herb Jones and I think Herb Jones and DeJounte Murray should have both gotten traded just because they would be a better fit. The team is just kind of a bad fit. Jeremiah Fears was a bad pick. Derek Queen is also kind of a bad fit. I feel like at 7th overall, I would have went Igor Demon. Even if he's a bust, I feel like just go for potential, because the team is like, okay, like ceiling first round exit, or like a 7th or 8th seed, and like the floor is like a top 10 worst team in the league maybe. They're like just sort of like okay. They're not bad enough to be like a super high lottery pick, but they're not good enough to contend. They're just kind of like in the middle. Like the Jordan Poole thing was pretty cool, but like everything else is just kind of bad. Derek Queen's not a good fit. I feel like they should have just went for potential and then traded Herb Jones. They were saying that they were going to go for Josh Giddey. They didn't. And I feel like they just should have tried to do something, because like any move would just work. I feel like they should have went for Josh Giddey. There was rumors about it. They didn't do it. Nikola Vucevic, they were supposed to go for him. They didn't. There was like so many things they were like supposed to do and they didn't. They just didn't do enough, which sort of ruined it, because they needed to have done something. Like there's probably a lot of teams like the Mavericks that would give up a lot for Cooper Flag, and they could have signed Giddey. They don't have that high of a cap room, so like I just don't know what they're doing. The GM's way too hesitant, and like that's not what you want for the franchise. The franchise will just be okay forever.
Yeah, so I kind of disagree with this, and it's not even just because of one player. You got Jordan Poole. That's a shooting guard right there. He's not even that horrible.
Yeah.
There's always been
That
some
was their
stuff
best move of the offseason.
going with him. You got DeJounte Murray. He's still good. You have Jeremiah Fears. He's good too. You have Zion Williamson. You have Derek Queen. Those are all 5 like really solid players, and so their starting 5 is going to be good. And they also have a little bit of depth too. Some of their moves were questionable in what they gave up, and I don't think they had the worst offseason. I think that could definitely go to another team that we're going to be talking about. But did they make some mistakes? Yes. Do I think that they're horrible now? No, I think they actually could. They're going to be better than last year. We'll see.
Yeah. So now moving on to one of the best off seasons, we have the Charlotte Hornets. So mainly, they didn't really do much in the off season, but this is mainly just how good their draft class was. So they took Knipple, which Orion is a lot more high on Con Knipple than I am, but I like them taking a safer prospect after taking the more risky prospect, Tijan Salon, in the last draft class that I don't think is working out. So they took Knipple. He's a safe prospect. He's gonna shoot the ball well for them, and he's not horrible at defense. He's a bit underrated there. I like them getting Ryan Kalkbrenner from the Suns. Not Ryan Kalkbrenner. What's his name? The Gonzaga guy. Liam McNeely. Yeah, I like them taking him, another safe prospect for shooting. The Mark Williams trade, I get why they would do that, because he's young, and if he can stay healthy, he's really good. He just can't really stay healthy, and he hasn't proven that he can do that. So getting him for Liam McNeely and then a 2029 first round that's going to be in the 20s, I think that's a decent trade. They didn't really do much other than that, except I like their second round picks in Ryan Kalkbrenner and Sion James. I think their depth is good, and if LaMelo Ball can stay healthy, and if Brandon Miller can have an even better season, I think this team could make the playoffs. They're not contenders or anything. I think they still have a few more years of rebuilding to go, except I really like them. I think they could potentially make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I have pretty similar thoughts on it to Quinn. I do think they had a really good draft. I like all the picks that they did. Kalkbrenner fills, and he was kind of underrating what the offseason is. That in the offseason they didn't really lose a lot, but they got a lot. They were able to re-sign Trey Mann. He's pretty good. Backup point guard for LaMelo. They were able to get Pat Connaughton and Mason Plumlee for almost nothing, which is I know they're not all that good, but they are decent role players who can just go out there and get minutes and just do some stuff, It can work. They barely lost anyone. They also got Spencer Dinwiddie, who's a small forward, I think, who can just go in there and sort of be like a backup to Brandon Miller. He's decent. He averages 13 points a game for the Mavericks. So Spencer Dinwiddie's decent. They got Trey Mann. Pat Connaughton and Mason Plumlee are decent role players. Mason Plumlee started for the Suns a little bit, and the draft is really good. I think Kalkbrenner's good. Sion James could sort of be a backup small forward. He's kind of like Spencer Dinwiddie. And I do like Knupel a lot, and I feel like McNeely could sort of be like a backup for Miles Bridges. So I feel like they have a backup for everybody, and yeah, I do think that they could make the playoffs, maybe even pass the play, and they can. I wouldn't be shocked if they were like a 6th seed, but will they probably be a first round exit? Yeah, if they do make it, but I would expect them to maybe be like the 9th or 10th seed, maybe. I feel like they have taken a big step up.
Yeah. JT, do you have any thoughts?
This team, I would be shocked if they didn't make the playoffs. And like you said, number one concern for me is LaMelo Ball's health. It has been absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever played more than 50 games in a season, which is not good. And I would say in the next 1 to 2 years, it's kind of like a Kyler Murray thing. We just keep going and going. If LaMelo Ball can't stay healthy, he's gone. He will be traded or honestly maybe just dropped to waivers because of his injury history. You can't just pay that guy a lot of money for him to just sit on the bench for the whole season and look drippy and make one-footed three-pointers, but only one time per season. That's not a good thing. And definitely around that, I think Con Knipple is pretty good. He's all right. He's from Duke, so he's pretty good. Liam McNeely, they got him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish the Suns got him.
Yeah.
They basically gave up Liam McNeely for
Mark Williams.
Yeah, Mark Williams. I kind of forgot they got Mark Williams. Everything just makes me think of how bad the Suns are now. It's sad. But don't be surprised if the Hornets are a playoff team.
Yeah. So now we go on to the last worst team that we're going to talk about. That is the Brooklyn Nets. So they had 5 first-round picks. That is 1/6 of the entire draft, and they somehow might have been the worst drafting team. They took their one selection that I'm fine with. Actually, they have 2 selections that I'm fine with, but I'm fine with them taking Demon just because they're a rebuilding team. They can take a risky prospect. He might be out of the league in 4 years, and he also might be an MVP candidate in 4 years. I think I would be shocked if he's just mid, but I like the Nets taking a fly on him. And the rest of their draft picks, that's what concerns me. They took basically the exact same player, but worse, Nolan Traore, with their next pick. They took another guard, Ben Serif, pretty later, and I don't like that pick with 3 other point guards that they drafted. Drake Powell's fine. There was Asa Newell still on the board. There was a bunch of other players that I would have liked over him, and I think Danny Wolf's fine. I thought they were going to package some of their first-round picks and move up into the lottery and get maybe an Ace Bailey or a Con Knipple or someone anywhere from 4 to like 10. They didn't do that. They stood pat. They took 3 point guards. I'm fine with them taking Michael Porter Jr. in the offseason. I knew Cam Johnson was going to be traded. I think you can have Michael Porter Jr. on your team, and then whenever your team is out of the rebuild, you can flip him for just other stuff. I don't know. But the Nets, it's mainly the draft that got me. The draft was not the greatest. They had 5 first-round picks and didn't do anything with it. Orion, what are your thoughts?
What really disappoints me is that I do sort of like the Nets as a franchise. They're not my favorite, but I do kind of like them. And I just know that they could have had a draft. Their draft could have been Igor Demon, Kasparas Jakusionis, Asa Newell, Liam McNeely, and Danny Wolf. That draft would have been great for all their needs. But then they, passed on a ton of players. They let the Hawks get Asa Newell. They let the Hornets get Liam McNeely. And they let the Heat get Jakusionis, and those players are all really good fits on their respective teams. The Nets could have gotten all those picks, and they could have had a really good draft. If I was them, I would have taken all the picks and tried to go for someone higher up, because I feel like if maybe even I feel like someone like Knupel or Bailey or any of those dudes would have been good, or they could have traded up to a lower lottery and taken Derek Queen. He could have been a decent fit on the Nets. But I feel like, first off, them not trading the picks was dumb, but they had a lot of potential because there was a lot of slippers in the draft, mainly Jakusionis, Newell, and McNeely. All 3 of them they had a chance to get. They could have gotten those 3 and Danny Wolf and Igor Demon would have been a great draft. And they refused to get him, and they went for all these foreign prospects, and I just don't get it. Only one of the 4 picks was from only one of the 5 picks was even from the U.S. It's just they're trying to go way too hard in potential, even though they could get just really good picks if they would have done that. And the Michael Porter Jr. trade, I think, was kind of dumb. They just kind of needed to get rid of Cam Johnson, I guess. I don't hate it too much, but I do hate the draft. If I was them, I would have bunched up and went for maybe the 10th overall, and I would have tried to get Kaman Malawach. Then I would have traded Nick Claxton somewhere, and they should have made more. They should have made more trades, but just overall, I just don't know what's going on with the Nets franchise. They're going way too hard into potential. Demon had enough of that. I just don't like what they're doing. They've had the worst offseason, including the draft.
Yeah, so, well, I'm just going to talk about the trade. Michael Porter Jr. was beginning to look like a really, really good player in the start of the Nuggets, the Nuggets getting up top. And then he kind of just fell off the last 2 years. He didn't really do much. I don't watch the Nuggets, obviously, so I don't know how good he was doing. But people weren't talking about him as much. They were more going to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. And it's hard to have a big 3. We have seen that. And I think they just didn't want to do that, so they got Cam Johnson. I think they definitely won that trade. Cam Johnson is a great player. The Nets did get Michael Porter Jr., and I think that's good for them. But their draft class, their first pick was great. The last 4 picks, horrible. I mean, we're basically just copying each other what we say. We got 3 people right now. But I think the biggest thing that they really did this offseason was the trade, and then obviously they had 5 picks, but it's not really big because they just copy and pasted their picks basically with very surprising picks and them not really drafting well, and that obviously shows that their front office needs some changes.
Yeah. So, I know I said I'm not going in any order, but this is the only thing I would put in order. The best offseason, and it's not really even close, is the Atlanta Hawks. So, first thing they did, actually I don't know if it's the first thing they did, but the first major thing they did, they got Kristaps Porzingis. They, I don't even know really what they gave up. And if I don't know what they gave up, they probably didn't give up that much.
Yeah, they gave up Georges Niang in 1 second.
Okay, yeah, so nothing. So, sorry for all of George's Niang lovers, or if he's watching. You'll do great. I'm sorry, I'm being so mean.
The guy sounds familiar. I think
I
I've heard.
But getting Kristaps Porzingis to be your starting five, I know what JT said earlier, he has injury concerns, but he is a good player.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can stay healthy, they have a very good starting five with Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, Kristaps Porzingis, and wait, who's the other guy?
Clint Capella, George.
And Zachary Reese-Shea.
Isn't it a Kongwu?
Reese-Shea's better in my opinion, but I like that starting lineup. They have a bunch of other depth pieces too. They signed Luke Kennard. They have who's the guy? Nickeil Alexander-Walker. They signed him. They still have a Kwangu. I think he's gonna come off the bench just because Reese-Shea is better, and I think he has more potential. And I like this team. They have good depth, a great starting lineup. This is the best team that Trae Young's ever had around him. I think if Dyson Daniels can take the step offensively, and if Jalen Johnson can get better, I think this might sound crazy, but I think they are finals contenders. You look at the East, the Celtics won't be good. The Pacers won't be good with Halliburton out. There's not many teams in the East that I think can contend. You have the Cavaliers and the Knicks, and honestly, that's probably it. I think
the Wizards.
And the Wizards. Oh yeah, and then the Magic and the Pistons are decent, but
and the Wizards.
the Wizards.
No, Trae Johnson kind of looked nice though.
Yeah, he did. But
the Wizards aren't decent. The Wizards are kind of bad. They might make the play-in.
But anyway,
I mean, for Wizards, that's kind of insane because I don't think they've made the playoffs in like 15 years. So.
But I think hot takes, the Hawks might make the finals. I think they might get swept or lose in 5 to either the Thunder or like whoever, like the Nuggets.
The Rockets, ha ha ha.
Kevin Durant or whoever you want to put in there. But I really like this team after the offseason. They're a great team. Orion, what are your thoughts?
I do think that they made a lot of good moves. Porzingis is good, and they gave up like Georges Niang in the second. Georges Niang is not good. He's just kind of like a middle of the road small forward. Then they got Luke Kennard to like replace that. They got rid of Karis LeVert also, who's another just kind of like not very good bench player, and they were able to, who's like trying to play back to PG. They have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Garrison Matthews, Luke Kennard, and they also have Asa Newell, who like Capella left, then they got Asa Newell. They didn't have to pay Capella, and they got Newell. Newell is basically, he's kind of like Clint Capella, so they kind of like just replaced him. And then either Okongwu or Reese-Shea will be the 6-man. Kind of depends, might depend on the lineup. And then like with Porzingis, Trae Johnson, Dyson Daniels, who's my favorite of the team, and then Jalen Johnson, I feel like the team can contend. And yeah, I do think they should make the finals, but I feel like if they do go against like whoever's going to be in there, like the Nuggets are pretty good, the Thunder are good, maybe the Timberwolves, possibly the Lakers if they're able to make some more moves. Currently, no. Or maybe just Luka pops off, I'm not sure. But still, I'm pretty sure like any of those teams would probably beat them, but I'm not sure. I do not think they're as good as the Pacers, but the Pacers lost Miles Turner, starting hitters Jay Huff now. And with Halliburton now, I still think the Pacers might be the best team in the East, but I'm not sure. It's probably going to be like the Knicks or the Pacers. But I'm not sure. I do think the Hawks are contenders. They should at least make the second round. I would be surprised if their first round exits if there's no injuries. I think they'll probably be a second, maybe conference finals team. But I do feel like they'll get eliminated because I just feel like the Knicks and maybe even still the Pacers are better than them. And they are maybe a little bit better than the Pistons, and they're like as good as the Magic.
Yeah, so I definitely do think the Hawks are playoff contenders. but they have a young team. Obviously, they have Porzingis. He's a veteran, but they have a pretty young team, and that's where I think it's going to catch up to them in the playoffs. I think their first-round exit just because of their young team and their lack of playoff experience. Trae Young has been in the playoffs, but not much. It's mainly just the play-in and then also the play-in, which is why that concerns me, and I think the Hawks definitely made some great steps to becoming a title contender. I don't think this year is their year. I think they will definitely make the playoffs, but I think they're definitely trending upward. They're not title contenders. I think the Wizards are. No, I can't even say that with a straight face. I really do like the Magic. I would say they're my pick. In the East, them or the Cavs. Cavs got this guy last year. He's really good. I think his last name is Tyson.
Jordan Tyson's brother.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I think he's a pretty good player. Okay, so that is going to wrap it up for today's podcast. I am your co-host, JT. Quinn, I don't know why I said Quinn was the co-host. He was more like the host. NBA, I haven't really been following, I'll be honest with you. But, yeah, it's the NBA.
You did good well. You did good well.
Okay, let's just go. Peace out, guys.
Bye.